project. Plan. They're doing all of these concurrently. Welcome, come on in. And so they've been through one review so far. And then at that point, now they're required to have their neighborhood meeting. After this, they will, do the revisions necessary and submit again for additional staff reviews as needed. Then eventually, once they're ready, they'll be scheduled for both Planning Commission and City Council for a final decision on all three of the applications. After that, they'll have civil construction drawings and building permits, assuming approval, of course.
Yeah, right. We have to really wonder if that's going to happen.
It may or may not, but
Okay. I think we can think that way.
they will submit, and then that part will be administratively approved if it is approved at the City Council hearing. So that's all for now, and I'll let you do the presentation.
Perfect. Thanks, Amy. Thank you all for attending this evening. We have just a couple of slides to go through with all of you today, and then we'll open it up for questions. Go to the next slide. So we have myself, Bonnie Nischelik with Norris Design. I also have my colleague Becca here and Andrew Lyons. Kurt Allstat with Pillar of Fire. He's the applicant and landowner for this property. And then we also have Isaiah in the back, or in the front, right over there. He's our civil engineer for the project. So have our team here to answer any questions you all may have. So neighborhood notice, this is a notice that was provided by the city. It's a required 1,000 foot notice from the property. So about 1,800 notices were mailed 2 weeks ago. This is the site that we are focused on today. So just west of Federal, between 83rd and 82nd Avenue. The site today has an R1 zoning, which is a residential zoning. As Amy mentioned, we are requesting a rezoning of this property, which we'll get into, which is right here. So we're doing a rezoning to PUD, which requires us to do a preliminary development plan, which outlines specific uses for the property. So in this case, we have two different planning areas. The majority of the site on the northwest, PA2, that allows the existing employee housing and the agriculture accessory to institutional uses. So that's a lot of words to say the uses that are there today. We're not changing anything on the majority of this site. In the southeast corner, planning area 1, there we are limiting this to just one use, which is indoor equipment storage. And here's the blow up of that site. So again, you can see the majority of it is those existing uses. And then we have the details of the planning area 1, which is where those indoor equipment storage uses are. And here again, you can see what this looks like with just a little bit more detail. So on the western portion of this planning area 1, we have an extension of Crown Point Drive. So all the vehicular access to this site connects to that existing Crown Point Drive that continues west through the property. The main facility is just this centrally located building. It's about 148 feet west of Federal. And kind of look at it interior to the site. So it just has that one access point and one building, which I believe our next slide shows what this building looks like. So it's a 1-story equipment shed building. We have a maximum height of 31 feet. The materials for this building are red and charcoal gray and black panel. And here you can see this top elevation will face 82nd, so that provides access into the equipment shed for the different equipment that will be stored in there. And then the bottom image is the north elevation, so just the back of that building. That's our full presentation, but like I said, our full team is here to answer any questions you may have.
Really quickly, before anyone asks any questions, I just wanted to make you all aware that as a part of the recording, if you ask any questions, you will also be recorded.
Any questions? Yeah.
Is this storage for the school? I don't even understand what this storage building is.
Yeah, absolutely. Kurt, would you like to just describe a little bit about the what gets stored in this building?
Sure. So we have we're our own water district. We're not on the city of Westminster. We treat our own water for our campus. So I've got backhoes, dump trucks, that sort of thing for maintaining our water lines. Also, everything that's on our campus is our own sewer lines. We tie into 3 different places to City Westminster lines, but we maintain everything within roughly 100-acre campus that we have at this point.
You have 100 acres here?
Just a little under, yep. And so, those are a couple of things, some maintenance equipment for the campus. And we'll still have about 50 some acres of dryland grass that will be still farming around these, like this field as well. So some of that support equipment for that as well. And we also have our own cemetery. I take care of that as well. I like to always say I'll be the last one to let you down. But anyway, we've got to have all the equipment for that. We have any employees. That's what it's restricted to, is employees.
Now, this is Crown Point, it's not Pillar of Fire, or it's Pillar of Fire?
This is all pillar fire.
It's Pillar of Fire. Are you the one who used to do plant the wheat fields?
I used to drive a tractor right through here.
Yeah. So this is west of Federal, this side, or what?
You want to go to the map?
And
Yep, it's just west of Federal. So Federal on the right side of the screen and then 82nd on the bottom, 83rd on top.
Maybe if you identify Bishop Square Park, that might help too.
Yeah.
Yeah, could you go back to the vicinity map?
Well, you could have done it on that one, but
You can see it, Bishop Square there. Park.
So what happened is the Uplands group bought your property, but now they're giving you back some property?
No,
Or,
we've always owned this.
okay, so this was never,
It's
This is-
not part of Uplands in
this is
any way.
nothing to
except
do
that
with
Norris
us.
Design, of course, is involved as with every
And-
other
and that
project
was-
in the city practically.
Well, that was
I
my
see.
choice to have them in this because it looked like we needed help on this. This is more than we can handle in-house. So anyway,
John?
will all of the stuff that's at that property on Green Court that's in zoning violation and code violation be removed promptly if this gets approved?
that's where that is going, is right across the street in this.
I know that, but the property that it's currently sitting on is not zoned for where you're
And
using.
I understand that. I've had warning from code enforcement and we're in process of getting that. Yes, we're in process of getting it moved.
And then ultimately, it
And
would go in
ultimately,
here.
that equipment will go in this building. So it won't be outside at all.
And will they be needing to file for land disturbance permits to do this?
Yes.
Yes.
So now that the barns and everything are being taken down at the Upland site, that's part of the reason you need all this stuff.
Correct. I don't like to leave our equipment sitting outside. And we've always had the shop that's down there now, well, the last 50 years. And it's a replacement to put our equipment that we need for maintenance on the campus inside.
What did you say the height would be?
Maximum height is 31 feet.
What does code allow?
So it's a PUD zoning, and so it's part of the PUD that we need to define what that
So
maximum height
are
is.
you asking to rezone this little parcel too, or that whole parcel too?
So can you go back to the existing zoning map? So here in the red dashed area, this is the site we're looking at. So you can see just above those red dashes. Today, the zoning is R1, which is the residential zoning. So we are rezoning it to PUD, plan unit development, which requires us to do this preliminary development plan. If you go to the next slide. Sorry, one more. Which requires us to create these planning areas, establish different uses, and then put in the maximum height.
Can you go back one slide? On the left end of that property, where's the house sit?
The
A
left,
little more to the right with your pointer?
so it shows it right here.
Okay, and that's not part of it?
So that's planning area 2, which we're not proposing any improvements on. We're just allowing the uses that exist today.
What about exterior lighting on this building? And how will that affect the people across the street on Federal,
I
as
believe we
well as the people down in the Bishop Park area?
pull up the lighting. So we do have some lighting, that is, it's as wall packs on the actual, elevation. So there's no like perimeter, streetlights or anything like that, just on the buildings. And so once you get to the property line, the lighting is at 0-foot candles, so it doesn't bleed beyond the site. It actually, goes down to 0 quite a bit before there.
And will there also need to be a review from the flood district due to the change in elevation of that property?
Isaiah, do you want to answer that
Yes.
question?
So, Nathan Eck with the city of Westminster is reviewing this. And, we are providing water quality for all the impervious area that we're adding to this site. So, the additional road and the equipment shed itself, we're gonna have a sand filter basin kind of up here.
Well, I'm more concerned with the way the lay of the property is now with the big berm that runs along Federal and up 82nd. That was well above grade originally.
Kurt, can you talk a little bit about, how that berm came to be?
I can. So that, I don't remember exactly how much dirt that was moved in there. But we're not on this map, but over here where City of Westminster built two new water tanks at the top of the hill. And part of it was, I don't think you can.
Yeah, I don't think I'm showing this, yeah.
I'm not gonna cover it on that. And part of that property, they needed a couple extra acres for that project. And there was, I don't know, 20-some thousand extra yards of dirt. And we had worked that out, with the city to move that over to build that corner up. That corner was actually 82nd Avenue originally. And we built the berm there so that it's not as visible from Federal. But anyway, and it all drains to the back, which is where they're planning on a
Sand filter.
sand filter in the back of that, so it's not going out on 82nd Avenue.
So the building will be above the berm or below the berm, or will you raise the elevation again?
We're not changing any elevation. It's staying exactly how it is. The building will go in there just as the elevation is basically.
I don't believe you're in the floodplain,
No,
correct?
no, we're not in floodplain.
When they changed the elevation, that changed the floodplain. That land severely sloped to the east, the southeast, before that berm was installed. And I questioned that way that when, and never got a straight answer.
Any other questions?
When will work begin?
So we still have, as Amy mentioned, we've made just one submittal, so I expect we'll have another 1 or 2 submittals. This will go to public hearing, for approval, and then we'll need to submit our civil CDs and final plat, which is probably a 6-month process.
Might be a good guess, yeah.
Yeah, so we're a ways out.
For groundbreaking. Right, next, that's something you mentioned that I didn't think about, the water, where will that be coming from? Is that city?
No, and there is no water in this building.
There's no bathrooms or anything? No
No storage building.
sinks?
Storage building. No. And if it's not going to, but at some point, if it did, we have our own water where we don't rely on Westminster.
But isn't that in Westminster?
That doesn't matter.
It is in Westminster, but the church has their own water system. Any other questions? All right, well, we'll stick around for a few minutes if anyone wants to come up and ask something.
Let's
Yep.
not go in front of council first for a concept review.
So this, we originally submitted this,
before the concept review
Yeah.
process started.
When would that have been?
So we submitted this in May of 2023. And I think the concept review process started in July. was
I
it?
think that's approximately right. Yeah.
All right, we'll also stick around for a few minutes if anyone wants to come up and ask a question, make a comment.
I will stop the recording, but
Oh, I do have one more question.
Okay,
Who's
go
the
ahead.
builder? Who's gonna actually do the building of this?
I don't know if they picked that yet.
Yeah, I'll probably get through this process first and then figure that out. All right, well, thank you all for coming, and I think you're stopping the
I'll
recording now.
stop the recording. now.
Perfect.
Yeah, thanks.
And like I said, we'll be here to answer any follow-up questions that you have.